News Central now this hour begins with security matters, where the leadership of the Ohanaeze Ndigbo and the detained leader of the indigenous people of Biafra, IPOB Nnamdi Kanu, have denounced the killing of security personnel by unknown armed men in the southeast. On Thursday, 2 soldiers were killed by yet-to-be-identified gunmen at a military checkpoint at the Obikabia Junction in Obingwa Local Council of the state. President General of the Ohanaeze Ndigbo Worldwide, Chief Emmanuel Uwanyawo, after a meeting with Nnamdi Kanu, who is in the custody of the DSS, said that Kanu was not behind the order for the seat at home. According to him, the senseless killing of security operatives by criminals does not enjoy the support of all right-thinking Igbos, the leadership of the Ohanaeze, as well as Nnamdi Kanu.
Nnamdi Kanu is not in support. Nnamdi Kanu is not in support of this question of law that people should people should start on today. He's not about it. I'm sad, very sad that in Igbo land, where I am now presiding as a leader, that some people can come and kill I hear 2 soldiers have been killed somewhere. These are people who are carrying the banner of Nigeria. These are people who have brought out their life for us. And it is very sad. We regard it as a criminal matter. Igbos are not happy about it, and we are very sad about it. Nnamdi Kanu is not happy about it. And in fact, this is the more reason why we plead that our President Tinubu should take political action to release him. Because if he is released, nobody will now have any excuse whatsoever. We will now know who is a criminal and who is not a criminal.
Staying with security matters, the military task force maintaining peace in Plateau State has declared 11 men wanted, according to Deputy Commander Tezongwe Iyua at a Friday press conference in Jos. The wanted individuals are Muhammadu MP, Muhammad Mopol, Rabiu Ibrahim, Buba Sobe, Semfos Gane, Nahaska Baderi, Dudi Muhammadu, Habu Muhammadu, Jafaru Mutkakala, Hassan Waje, and Sanusi Dafo. They are sought in connection with various attacks that caused deaths and property destruction. EU emphasized that Operation Safe Haven remains proactive in securing lives and property, but faces challenges from peace disruptors. Significant attacks occurred in Birkin, Lodi, and Bokos on December 24, 2023, and subsequent attacks in the Bokos and Mango local government areas on April 19th to 20th and May 8th, 2024. The death toll from the May 15 bombing of a mosque at Garden Village, Gezawa local government area of Kano State, has risen to 21. This comes after 4 more victims of the incident died, raising the figure to 21 from the 17 reported last week, Tuesday, May 21st. The chairman of Friends of the Hospital, Alhaji Bature Abdulaziz, revealed the latest development on Thursday. A total of 25 early morning worshippers were injured in the mosque bombing attack. While 1 person died on the date of the incident, 20 have died at the Muhammad Specialist Hospital in Kano, where they had been receiving treatment, living only for surviving. A 38-year-old man, Shafi Abubakar, had attacked the mosque with a locally fabricated bomb, injuring many. And 10 people have been rescued after a 3-story building collapse in the Saleko area of Lagos State on Thursday. The structure alleged to have been defective gave way following a fire in parts of Dosumo Market on Lagos Island. The Lagos Territorial Coordinator of the National Emergency Management Agency, NEMA, Ibrahim Farilui, who confirmed the incident, said 14 other buildings were seriously impacted by the fire. While providing an update about the incident to News Central, Director of Operations, Lagos State Emergency Management Agency, Olari Diakin Soya, said the Permanent Secretary of Lagos State Emergency Management Agency, LASEMA, Olufemi Damilola Oke Osonyetolu, led the rescue efforts. Our correspondent Niyo Moni was on the site and fills in this report.
So far, so good, as spoken or information given to us yesterday by the Lagos State Emergency Management Authority that there's going to be a ground zero operation as at this morning. Well, a few minutes ago, there was an heavy downpour, so of course operations couldn't start. But as we can see, there are few members of the Lagos State Building Control Agency trickling in, and of course I'm trying to check their equipment. I want to believe that the ground zero operation will begin shortly. Now, let me quickly explain what the ground zero operation is like. They are going to clear the rubbles here and move everything that is in there out so that that place will be completely plain and people can probably apply it. Now, as to what else will happen to the buildings just right beside it, for now, we do know that people are still there living, and I'm not sure they've been given any sort of information as to if the building will be coming down or not. But we do know that this place is going to be cleared in a few minutes. Those are the information I have for you right now.
Away from that, Nigeria is set to increase its daily crude oil output by 480,000 barrels as the Nigerian National Petroleum Company Limited, NNPCL, and ExxonMobil have taken steps to resolve the disagreements surrounding the sale of ExxonMobil's asset to Surplus Energy. The NNPCL confirmed the signing of a settlement agreement with ExxonMobil, allowing for the divestment of 100% interest in Mobil Producing Nigeria Unlimited to Surplus Energy Offshore Limited. This development comes after President Bola Tinubu intervened in the dispute which had hindered the sale. The Minister of State for Petroleum, Hanikin Lokpobiri, expressed concerns about Nigeria losing 480,000 barrels of crude oil per day due to the Surplus ExxonMobil crisis. The resolution of the controversy is expected to contribute to significantly Nigeria's oil production and also help meet OPEC targets. Nigeria's Minister of State for Petroleum Resources, Ekpo, has inaugurated a 5.2 million standard cubic feet per day compressed natural gas and auto gas stations in Lagos. The inauguration ceremony, which was themed From Gas to Prosperity, CNG for All, was held in Lagos State. The building of the facility was done by Nigerian National Petroleum Company, NNPCL Limited, and Transit Gas Nigeria Limited, a subsidiary of Axela. The CNG station is expected to fill about 3,700 cars or 600 trucks and buses per day. During the inauguration, Ekpo stated that the event is in line with President Tinubu's renewed hope agenda, and it signifies a huge milestone in the nation's journey towards energy security, accessibility, and affordability for all Nigerians. He adds that as the nation continues to take giant strides in the adoption of CNG, as a sustainable alternative to PMS and AGO, they are resolute to bring the benefits of CNG adoption closer to the Nigerian people. And to talk about this, I'm joined live by Temitope Kolade, Senior Manager and Lead ESG and Climate Change Services at Addison. Good afternoon. Glad to have you join me.
Good afternoon, Adebola. Thanks for having me.
Let me start by asking, given the stated capacity of 3,700 cars and also 600 trucks per day, how does the NNPC plan to incentivize the conversion of fleets towards CNG usage to ensure the plants operate at full capacity?
Well, I would think that the costs alone should help to incentivize the conversion to CNG. But again, I would expect that the NNPC should do a lot more. According to the statements from the GMD of NNPC, the expectation is also that that sort of station that has been inaugurated in Lagos would be decentralized and will have them in the 6 geopolitical zones across Nigeria. And more importantly, the private sector investors would see reasons why they should also invest in this, and we'll begin to have the CNG stations across the nation. I think that way people will be incentivized because they will know that they could get these resources wherever they go across the country.
I know Lagos is top on the list when it comes to this plan, but for the country in general, looking at it in a broader perspective, what are the rollout plans for additional CNG stations across the country? Just to achieve this wider adoption, and also fulfill the goals of President Tinubu's renewed hope agenda?
I think, again, if we go back to what the GMD of NNPCL said, it's quite clear that what we want to do is to get other stations across the country to begin to convert to have the means to supply CNG to would-be buyers. And so the expectation really is that if we democratize this, and we ensure that people are able to get it wherever they go, just like people get PMS, then we'll be an inch closer and maybe a lot closer to achieving the reality of transitioning to CNG for most users of PMS currently in Nigeria.
Now, the story mentions CNG as a sustainable alternative. I mean, can you elaborate on the planned strategies to ensure the entire gas production and also distribution chain adheres to best environmental practices?
Okay, so apparently CNG inherently is less carbon emitting, right? So that's to tell us that there is very little that we need to combat with when it comes to issues around emissions from greenhouse gases. But the challenge could be in terms of production, right? You could then begin to have concerns around methane emission, which is part of what the industry standard should help look into. We have already the regulators within the industry, the NUPRC and the NMDPRA in particular. And I mean, their duty ordinarily is to ensure that when people do anything with respect to gas and oil altogether, they are doing it the right way and they're not allowing any leakage or any seepage whatsoever. So I would expect that if we have the regulators at the top of what they do, they will be able to deal with whatever the issues are that could result from the conversion. But again, I believe that generally we have less to combat with when it comes to emission of gases or pollutants using the CNG option.
Now, while the focus seems to be on CNG, can you share insights on the auto gas components of this new station and also potential impact on the Nigerian transportation system?
My expectation is that with respect to the Nigerian transportation system, that we should begin to have more affordable transport costs. Apparently, we're able to get a liter of CNG for sub 200 naira. It's going to be a lot easier for those who use vehicles to transport people to charge less because that's like the major input that goes into that business for them. So, I mean, generally, it would also mean that they have to convert their engines to CNG-powered engines, and the implication for that is that initially there could be some seeming cost, but over time, we expect that that cost will get neutralized and it will just be for the betterment of everyone within the industry. I think I missed the point on the very first question aside from the impact for the transportation sector.
Well, I was asking, you to share insights on the auto gas components.
Okay, for the auto gas component, really, again, I think it's to ensure that you could, I would imagine that the expectation is to have maybe a system that you could either use PMS or you could use gas. So we could be an hybrid solution, for instance. And so you could easily switch to gas, especially in the event that you're having challenges with getting a refuel station along your way. I would think that's what that is to achieve, really.
Thank you so much for your insight on the news. Temitope Kolade, thank you once again.
Thanks for having me.
And now to court matters. Justice Peter Alifiu of a federal high court in Abuja on Friday granted Chioma Okoli bail in the sum of 5 million naira and two sureties and like sum. The judge held that one of the sureties must be the defendant's spouse or a blood relative with a variable source of income who resides within the jurisdiction of the court. The judge also ordered the sureties to deposit a passport photograph each. He instructed the defendant to deposit her international passport, if any. Okoli is facing 2 counts charge bordering on cybercrime, Okoli was sued over a Facebook post she shared on September 17, 2023, where she made some commentary on Erisco Foods Limited tomato paste. In her post, she claimed she purchased Nagiko tomato mix from Erisco Foods the day before and found it utterly sugary. A Rivers State High Court sitting in Port Harcourt has issued an interlocutory injunction barring 25 members of the Rivers State House Assembly from parading themselves as members of the House. The 25 lawmakers, led by Martins Amawile and loyal to the Minister of the Federal Capital Territory, Nyesom Wike, had on December 13, 2023, defected from PDP to the All Progressive Congress, APC. Factional Speaker of the House, Victor Okojumbo, and two others had dragged the 25 lawmakers to court, seeking that they should be stopped from parading themselves as members of the House Assembly, following the defection to another political party. Also joined as defendants in the suit are the Rivers State Governor, the Attorney General of the state, and the Judge of the state, Chief Judge of the state. And to talk about this, I'm joined by a legal practitioner, Stanley Negbenebo. Good afternoon. Glad to have you join me.
Good afternoon to you.
Let me kick off by asking, on what legal grounds did the River State, High Court issue the injunction against 25 lawmakers? And also, were there any precedents, in the Nigerian law for such decision?
Well, the law works with certainty, and if you look at the provisions of Section 109 of the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria as amended 1999, subsection 1 sub G of that Constitution states expressly that from the moment as an elected member of the State House of Assembly of any state, you decide to move away from the political party under whose platform you were elected to another party by way of decamping, you lose your seat automatically. There are exceptions to that rule, which is to the fact that you must prove that there's a division in your party or your party ceased to exist as a result of a merger howsoever. In the current circumstance, is that the case? The facts are clear. There's no division within the structure of the People's Democratic Party under which platform they were elected. And rightfully so, the court has actually interpreted this provision of the Constitution up till the Supreme Court as early as 2015, April, in the case of Abegunde versus the Ondo State House of Assembly. And in that case, the Supreme Court was explicitly clear that you cannot jump from the party under whose platform you were elected to another party for whatever reason. And the consequence of you decamping means that you must subject yourself to a fresh election under the fresh party you have moved to. Nigeria's constitution clearly recognizes party democracy, meaning that people vote for parties and not individual. So it is not subject to your whims and caprices that you are elected on one platform and you decide to move to another platform on your volition. If you don't meet those conditions, then you lose your seat and subject yourself to fresh elections. So the decision of the High Court of the Rivers State is in context.
I was going to ask you how you think this might impact this.
So the decision is rightfully reached.
Okay, I was asking, how this might likely impact the, the political landscape in Rivers State, particularly in relation to dynamics between the PDP and also the APC. Mr. Negbenegbo, did you get me there? I was asking how this legal battle can impact power dynamics between the APC and the PDP. Seems we lost connection with Mr. Negbenegbo. We'll try to connect with him in the course of the news bulletin. Moving away from that to another news item, Nigerian Education Loan Fund, NELFund, says it has recorded over 9.5 million visits to its office from students and federal tertiary institutions regarding the student loans since it opened its portals last Friday. The fund has also received over 6,000 applications regarding the loan. While briefing press at a post-application launch conference on Thursday, the managing director of the fund, Akintunde Sawyer, said over 90% of federal tertiary institutions have submitted the data of their students, with about 5 institutions remaining. He also revealed that in 3 weeks, the fund would democratize the loans following the outcry from students and state-owned tertiary institutions, thereby opening its portal for students and state institutions to apply for loan. Sawyer urged the authorities of the state tertiary institutions to begin to submit the data of the students to ensure that the process is seamless. Nigeria's Center for Disease Control and Prevention says it has concluded plans to leverage genomic sequencing technology for the quick detection of disease outbreak in Nigeria. The Director General of the center, while inaugurating the National Genomics Sequencing Consortium in Abuja, says that the new technology has tremendous advantages over traditional methods of disease detection, which allows diseases to spread. Marvelous Abomano files in this report.
Genomic sequencing technology can help with the quick detection of disease outbreak, thus preventing epidemics that have untold effects on citizens. With Nigeria set to adopt the technology in early disease detection and prevention, health experts believe this is the right way to go. With Nigeria's federal government now inaugurating a national genomics sequencing consortium, it is expected that the consortium will help in coordinating and overseeing the implementation and monitoring of Nigeria's genomic surveillance strategy and bolster health security in the country.
We can use the science for a lot of things. One of them is how to detect this disease, how to trace the various causes, how they are transmitted, so that we can react quickly in curbing this outbreak. But more importantly, it also has other importance. Talking of personalized medicine, you not only use it for infectious disease, you can use it for non-communicable diseases, hypertension, diabetes. If you recollect again, sickle cell.
At Africa CDC, we recognize the transformative power of genomics surveillance in detecting, responding to, and preventing infectious diseases and relevant pathogens in the continent. We are proud to support and stand alongside Nigeria CDC in this groundbreaking endeavor, which will undoubtedly strengthen not only Nigerians' health security, but also contribute to the broader health landscape across the continent.
The consortium says that it will oversee genomic surveillance across multiple health sectors using a One Health approach.
At the centenary anniversary of National Veterinary Research Institute, the minister and his principals, that's the chief veterinary officer, were there to launch a national pathogen repository. Now, this is to affirm our commitment to genomic development, bearing in mind that more than 70% of human pathogens are from animals.
The next thing is to make sure that we operationalize what is necessary to make it work under the leadership of the NCDC.
This, they believe, will enhance biosecurity measures, reinforcing Nigeria's health security framework. In Abuja for News Central, Marvelous Oboman.
In a step towards destigmatizing menstruation and improving menstrual hygiene practices in Nigeria's northeastern region, the water, sanitation and hygiene sector has launched a comprehensive training program for students. This followed calls by UNICEF and other stakeholders on government and policy makers to increase investment and prioritize the management of menstrual hygiene as a key public health issue. Our correspondent Umaru Kirawa has details.
The initiative, implemented in partnership with some schools, focuses on educating both female and male students on the importance of menstrual health and the proper management of menstruation.
I've learned how to take care of myself and how to do so many things, and I want to do this to teach my younger ones.
Through interactive sessions and practical demonstrations, students are equipped with essential knowledge and skills to ensure their well-being during menstruation.
We are very, very much happy to see you people have intervened in this kind of menstrual hygiene. It is the role of parents, but now it's the role of everybody.
The sector, through an assessment and verification, is able to provide the supplies to the community, and especially targeting the young girls to support them with menstrual hygiene.
Experts say investing in menstrual health is not just about providing pads and tampons. It is about ensuring that girls or women have access to accurate information, safe and affordable menstrual products, and the necessary infrastructure to manage their menstrual cycles with dignity.
In 93 schools, we have been able to reach out with training programs on menstrual hygiene management, and then we have trained about 330 girls in these schools on issues of MHM. We have also trained about 321 women on MHM, and also trained them on how to make pads and how to make soaps.
Prioritizing menstrual hygiene by the government is believed to have a profound impact on the overall well-being of individuals, particularly women and girls.
We are trying to provide water and sanitation facilities in schools so that girls are able to manage menstruation well. We are trying to provide hygiene education in the schools, which means not just of teachers but also of for the girls. And we are also trying to ensure that soaps are available, that water is continuously available for washing hands.
Sustained sensitization on social and cultural taboos surrounding menstruation with encouraged open discussions is believed to reduce stigmatization to its lowest ebb. In Maiduguri for News Central, Umaru Kirawa.
Senegalese President Bassirou Faye, on his first visit to Mali since being elected, has expressed optimism about a possible reconciliation between the West African bloc ECOWAS and Bamako. His visit aired on national broadcaster ORTM showed Faye being greeted by the head of military junta, Colonel Assimi Goïta. Speaking after his arrival in the Sahel nation, Faye told reporters that he found Goïta to be not totally inflexible on the possibility of a reconciliation with ECOWAS.
Nous avons parlé de la question de la CEDEAO. Comme vous le savez, le Mali est membre des États de l'Alliance du Sahel. Ceux qui ont suivi mes déplacements dans les différents pays de la CEDEAO m'ont entendu prêcher cette bonne parole-là. Je me suis évertué à en échanger longuement avec le colonel. J'ai compris la position malienne qui, quoique rigide, n'est pas totalement inflexible. Nous ne devons pas nous résigner et dire qu'on ne peut plus rien faire. Il y a des difficultés, il faut parler aux uns et les autres et les comprendre. Et à partir du niveau de compréhension et des écarts de position, voir ce qu'il est possible de bâtir à partir du socle qui est existant. Je rectifierai toujours pour dire que je ne suis pas médiateur de la CEDEAO, pas du tout. Je ne suis mandaté par aucune instance de la CEDEAO. Je n'ai jamais siégé à aucune réunion de la CEDEAO. J'ai été récemment élu. Je suis dans un parcours de prise de contact.
In East Africa, Kenyan President William Ruto voiced confidence that a UN-backed mission tasked with quelling gang-fueled anarchy in Haiti would go ahead. Kenya has offered to send about 1,000 police as the head of a multinational force for the troubled Caribbean nation, with deployment expected in a matter of weeks. There had been speculation a first contingent would arrive last week to coincide with Ruto's state visit to Washington, but instead, an advance team was sent to carry out reconnaissance work. However, the mission faces a new court challenge in Kenya, where a small opposition party and its leaders filed a lawsuit to try to prevent the government from sending police to Haiti. Kenya's High Court is due to hold a hearing on the case on June 12th. Haiti has suffered from poverty, political instability, and natural disasters for decades, and the multinational force has been tasked with helping its beleaguered police rein in powerful criminal gangs. In South Africa, election results continue to trickle in 2 days after voting. According to analysts, the African National Congress is facing a significant challenge. The party, which has been in power for nearly 3 decades, is losing its grip on the nation's vote. Our correspondent, Bongani Siba, tells us more.
It's been 2 days of unprecedented calm at IEC Results Center as the result continue to trickle in. However, some tensions is rising among some political parties over irregularities reported on voting day, with many crying foul.
It has been a complete disaster in this election. It was our biggest opponent that wasn't on the ballot paper, and I think they're going to be responsible at the end of the day for at least 1% of vote worth of vote share for us. Long queues, voters repelled, turned away, unable to exercise their democratic right. You've got one job. You've got 5 years to prepare for it. And this is the omni-shambles that you produce.
And some of the voting stations ran out of ballot papers. So there was a lot of problems yesterday. But I think the IEC was not ready for what was happening. We told them that this 2024 election is like 1994 election. There's a lot of numbers, there's a lot of interest, and we told them to improvise and capacitate themselves very well.
Some of the people had to turn back because of the delay that has been taking place. But in any way, that's acceptable, and I think they can do much more better.
The bloc Umkhonto weSizwe MK for Jacob Zuma is making significant strides.
The MK's performance is unprecedented, and it's clear that they have tapped into a deep sense of discontent among voters. It's not just about the ANC's leadership, but also about the economic conditions and social issues that affect many South Africans.
It's about time that we shake this political landscape. It's about time that people are held accountable, and it's about time that this level of comfort that the ANC had has to end, because they were too comfortable, too arrogant, and totally dislodged from the downtrodden people of this country. So until someone like us comes in, only then will this country wake up. All of them are too comfortable.
But while the results are promising for the MK, the Independent Electoral Commission says the final results should be expected over the weekend. Meanwhile, analysts say the writing is on the wall for the ruling ANC as the party seems to be losing its 30-year grip on political power in South Africa.
In my own calculations, the ANC is exactly where I predicted it would go. And actually, even without those polls, just taking the historical trend of the ANC, you would have seen that if you combine the trend and the split of MK, that the ANC is likely to end at about 42%.
The final results are expected to be released over the weekend, but for now, it's clear that this is an election that will shape the future of South Africa. At the IEC Results Center at Galaga Estate, Midrand, for News Central, Wangani Sisiba.
And to speak further on this, I'm joined by Bongani Sisiba. Bongani, good afternoon from here.
Good afternoon, and good afternoon to our viewers.
Yes, just update us on what the results looks like right now.
The results, as it stands now, ANC is still leading in many provinces, but also Democratic Alliance and EFF, and also the new kid on the block, MK, also upsetting here. I've been going around speaking to political parties. How do they feel about what MK is doing? Because most of them are saying that most of the votes have been taken by MK, and it's true, because if you look at the vote and how the MK is doing, you can see that it has taken many votes from many political parties. But now we are having just a media briefing, the IEC just briefing the media on how the capturing, auditing of the results and also allocating of seats is going. And they are expecting that the final results might come up over the weekend. But joining me is Nkululeko Hlengwa, IFP Member of Parliament, in KZN. Let's talk about MK in KZN. You are one of the political parties that have been dominant in KZN, but now there's this new kid on the block. How are you feeling about that?
Well, it's obviously a very difficult election in the sense that the counting is taking longer than we had actually anticipated. We feel that the province of KwaZulu-Natal, as you've just referred to, the IEC briefing is still at 75% of the count, and quite a number of our strongholds have not been logged as we speak now, and so there is going to be an increase of the vote as we anticipate that by this evening, IEC will have completed the capturing of all results.
KZN has been your stronghold for over 30 years now, but MK is coming. Are you saying that you are going to come back from what we are seeing now?
No, the KZN has not been our stronghold. We've been out of power in KZN from 2004, and we have been making inroads to regain the province. That is why we are in government in now 25 municipalities of the province, just over half of them coming back from 2 municipalities. The biggest losers in KwaZulu-Natal is the ANC, which have been decimated completely by the MK party. And we are quite confident that in this election, the IFP comes out very strongly as the kingmaker. And there is no future of South Africa now, which will be discussed without the consideration and input of the IFP.
But obviously, MK is going to take some of your seats. Any doors open for a coalition?
No, the MPs are taking enough for seats. We are not losing any seats in this election. We are going to come out having registered growth in the province of KwaZulu-Natal and nationally. The impact of MK is hard felt by the ANC. We are not in government in KwaZulu-Natal, so we're not losing a province. Ours was to try and regain the province, and we also understood then that it would be a coalition in the works, and so the options remain open now, and the IFP will be taking important decisions over the coming days.
But we're looking forward to see IFP making strides there as usual. But also, let's talk about the voting process. Are you happy about what happened?
Well, the IEC has been found wanting by the number of the issues related to voting, particularly on the Section 24 votes, schedule applications, the collapse of the system this morning, amongst others. There's been issues with the electronic devices which capture IDs and so on. So we will be raising the issues with the IEC after the elections. Ours now is to really offer the full support to the IEC to actually get the job done and bring it to its logical conclusion.
Thank you so much for joining us. Thank you. That was Nkudulego Shengwa, IFP Member of Parliament in KZN, telling us that they are not worried about the MK, but IFP has been the stronghold of KZN, but they are coming in there saying that the ANC is on the losing side. We believe them as they are saying it, but on the lookout is MK, because even on the national ballot, we can see that they are on number 3, and EFF has dropped so much. Some political analysts were even saying that this election is now about who is going to take the 3rd position.
Well, interesting turn of developments there, Bongani. But let me ask you, of the 27 million eligible voters in South Africa, which category would you say came out, in mass and cast their votes?
I didn't get your question.
Okay, I was asking, of the 27 million eligible voters in South Africa, which age grade would you say? Is it the youth? Is it the elderly? Which would you say came out in mass to cast their vote for this election?
I think the youth, not I think as such, because I was there going around the whole day on Wednesday. Most youth that I spoke to, they said they wanted change. And most of the queues, especially in the urban areas, it was the youth. And they even went up to beyond the allocated time when the voting was supposed to close. The queues were very long, and those queues, it was youth that were there. But in the rural areas, obviously, we know that it will be the elderly that will be dominating there. But mostly in the urban areas, it was the youth. And the youth are saying that they need a change.
Well, thank you so much, Bongani Sisiba. We'll keep in touch with you to see how things pan out. As Defense Ministry spokesman Wu Chan says, the meeting between U.S. and Chinese defense ministers was positive, practical, and constructive after the rare direct talks were held in Singapore. U.S. Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin said on Friday the United States and China will resume military-to-military communications in the coming months as Beijing hails the stabilizing security relations between the countries. U.S. President Joe Biden's administration and China have been stepping up communication to ease friction between the nuclear-armed rivals. The Secretary of State, Antony Blinken, visiting Beijing and Shanghai last month. The two sides agreed after a summit between Chinese leader Xi Jinping and Biden last November to restart high-level military talks. That includes a communications channel between the U.S. Indo-Pacific Command Chief and Chinese commanders responsible for military operations near Taiwan, Japan, and in the South China Sea. During a policy exposure workshop on Thursday, May 30th, 2024, the Presidential Fiscal Policy and Tax Reforms Committee engaged with journalists. The objective of the workshop was to familiarize journalists with the proposed recommendations outlined in the 2024 National Fiscal Policy, the draft of new tax laws and regulation, as well as suggested constitutional amendments related to fiscal matters. Several changes were proposed for various taxes, including income and capital gain tax, VAT, excise duties. For instance, the committee proposed pegging the customs duty at 800 naira. Abiodun Kayode Ali, Senior Manager of Tax and Regulatory Services at PwC, shared his insight on some of these changes as a guest on the Business Edge show.
Not just for the government, but also the individuals, because if you think about it, right, pegging the exchange rate at 800 for import duties, it makes a lot of sense, right? Because consider the fact that the imports, most of these imports are being done by producers, right? Who are actually trying to import capital items with which they will be able to generate output, right? And once they're able to generate output, they're able to sell it within the country, right? So if you consider some of the things these businesses are doing in terms of employment, right? In terms of making profits, and from the profits they generate, the government is able to tax such profit. It makes a lot of sense, and it's a win-win for the businesses, for the individuals they're employing, and also for the government who they will be paying profit tax to, right?
Nigeria's women's under-20 team, the Falconets, will know their group opponents for the 2025 FIFA Women's World Cup next Wednesday. Falconets are one of the teams that participated in every edition of the competition since its inception. The draw for the FIFA Under-20 Women's World Cup will be held in Bogota, Colombia on Wednesday, June 5th, 2024. The 24 qualified teams will be divided into 6 groups of 4 teams each for the final competition. At the end of the African qualifiers, Falconets secured a place in the tournament alongside Ghana, Cameroon, and Morocco. The FIFA Under-20 Women's World Cup will kick off in Colombia from Saturday, August 31st to Sunday, September 22nd, 2024. The Referees Department of the African Soccer Governing Body has announced June 9th to 13th, 2024 for the selected referees and assistants to undergo training despite the competition being uncertain. CAF Executive Patrice Motsepe is yet to give a green light on whether the 2024 Women's African Cup of Nations will still take place this year. The update comes from CAF headquarters in Cairo, Egypt, suggests that 49 referees and assistants, including VAR, have been invited to undergo compulsory training for the competition. And that's all on the news. But before we go, let's take a look again at some of the major stories. Nigeria's oil output set to rise by 480,000 PBD with NNPCL ExxonMobil deal. Military declares 11 wanted over killings in Plateau State. Senegalese President Bassirou Faye says Mali is open to reconciliation with ECOWAS. Send your eyewitness report to the WhatsApp number on the screen and follow us on social media. We are at News Central TV. You can watch us live on DSTV, channel 422, Star Times, channel 274, Avo TV, and YouTube. Many thanks for watching. I am Adebola Adeduba.